What's up, guys? Welcome back to Ironically Ivy. If you're new here, my name is Ivy. I am a type 1 diabetic who is in end-stage renal disease, who has end-stage renal disease. I don't know how long it's going to take me to get that right. But welcome. First, I want to say thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed. I am overwhelmed by the support that I've received in the last 2 days. I'm so happy to be able to share my journey with anybody who's interested, and anybody who cares, and anybody who might be going through the same thing. So I do want to tell you thank you so much for your support. Also, I am extremely new at this YouTube thing, and I'm figuring it out as I go. I do want to clarify that. My first video was tagged as inappropriate for kids because I accidentally said a curse word. So I'm sorry, YouTube, and I'm sorry to everybody who's watching. I didn't mean to. I said it scared the bleep out of me, and I'm sorry. I will be careful from now on. Okay? So today we're going to talk about diabetes. Diabetes is a disease of your pancreas. Your pancreas is used to make insulin. There are two different types of diabetes. There is type 1 diabetes and there's type 2 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes generally occurs in juveniles. It does happen in older adults, not older adults. Usually if you're past the age of, I want to say, statistics say like 40, that type 1 usually doesn't happen. It's usually type 2. Type 1 is usually genetic. Your system basically kills the cells in your pancreas that make insulin. So your body stops making insulin, which is what you need to keep your blood sugars low. Type 1, again, does require insulin. Most of the time, it's extremely hard to control it with diet because most foods have carbohydrates in it. Carbohydrates are what raises your blood sugar. I take insulin, and I take insulin according to the carbohydrates that I eat. So my scale is I take 1 unit for every 10 carbohydrates. So if I eat something with 50 carbohydrates in it, I take 5 units. That's how my dosing of food works. I also have a quote unquote sliding scale, which goes by my blood sugar. So if my blood sugar is, say, 175 and I want to get it down to 100, I would take 3 units because I take 1 unit for every 25 points of my blood sugar. That is how a sliding scale works. Type 2 diabetes generally occurs in adults. I want to say it's 45 and older because their body, they're either usually overweight and they're eating more food than their body will make for that insulin, or they become insulin resistant due to being overweight. So a lot of the times type 2 can be controlled by diet. So you want to try to eat less carbs because sometimes your body is still making insulin to cover what you eat, or it can be controlled by medicine, pills. You do have the option if you are a type 2 diabetic. Going back to my story, I was 11 years old when I was diagnosed, and I was a chubby kid, and I actually started losing weight rapidly fast, like really fast. And I think that my parents initially thought it was like, losing your baby fat. Until I started drinking a ton of water. And when I say a ton of water, I mean a ton of water. We always went to bed with a water bottle, a huge water bottle, when we were little. And I'd never drink the whole water bottle by the time I woke up. But before I was diagnosed, I was drinking like, my parents would find like 5 or 6 empty water bottles this size in the middle of the night from me drinking so much. It was like I could not quench my thirst. And sometimes I would drink so much water that I would just like vomit water. I remember that. I was tired all the time. I was nauseated. So as I mentioned, my mom graduated nursing school right after I was diagnosed. And I remember one night after me being sick, before I was diagnosed, she told me, hey, let's go get some ice cream. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, ice cream. That sounds great. And she took me to Brahms in this little town in Oklahoma and told me, I'm taking you to the doctor tomorrow. And they're going to check your blood sugar and some other things and just kind of see what's going on with you. And I'll never forget, I remember this vividly. I looked at my mom and I was like, you think I have diabetes? And Mom was like, how do you know that? I was like, Babysitter's Club, Mom. Stacy had type 1 diabetes. So holler for all my Babysitter's Club fans. I knew what was going on. I should have known what was going on before I was diagnosed. So we went to the doctor the next day and my blood sugar was taken and it was like 450 something. So they knew right then and there. They knew I had diabetes. I got stuck in the hospital, and again, it was a small town, so lots of people knew that I was in the hospital. I had so much support. We had to take 2 carloads home because of all like the balloons and things that I had, which is really, really, really sweet. I did learn how to give myself insulin in the hospital. My mom and dad were both there the whole time for support, as well as my brother. My brother let me practice on him with saline water when I was learning how to give myself shots. I could get emotional just talking about it. But yeah, that's when I learned everything that was going on with me. Now here's the thing that I want to talk about, and a big point that I want to make. There is a huge difference between type 1 and type 2 diabetes that so many people don't recognize, and especially when like children are involved. I remember I saw a dietitian whenever I was in the hospital in my little town in Oklahoma, and she was the cutest thing. And actually, no, this was in Oklahoma City. And she sat me down, and this is when I was first diagnosed. And, we were trying to do everything perfectly. Like we were buying like sugar-free cookies and we were buying sugar-free this and that. And she sat me down and she was like teaching me how to count carbs. And she showed me that like regular Oreos compared to sugar-free Oreos, there are still carbs in those sugar-free Oreos. Like you're still going to have to give a shot for these sugar-free Oreos. Like why would you not treat yourself to two real Oreos versus 2 sugar-free Oreos if you're going to have to give a shot anyway? And that's what so many people don't understand. Like I remember going home one time after a basketball game, when I was in junior high, and somebody had called my mom and told them that I had a Coke at a basketball game. And I know my mom was like, okay, Ivy can have a Coke. There's so many restrictions that people try to put on you that they don't even understand what's happening with your disease. So I don't know. I felt the need to clarify the difference between type 1 and type 2 because there's so many differences. Again, everybody has their different ways of controlling it, but, be easy on these kids that are transforming life and trying to get used to their normal way of life. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's really and truly, I just wanted you to hear some 411 on diabetes straight from the mouth of a diabetic. And yes, low blood sugars do happen. I mean, let's talk about that. You can give too much insulin and low blood sugars happen in type 1 and type 2 diabetics. That happens. And if that's the case, you can fix that. I would honestly, as crazy as it sounds, I would rather have a low blood sugar than a high blood sugar, or I'm sorry, vice versa. I would rather have a high blood sugar than a low blood sugar, because when my blood sugar is low, I don't know about any of my other diabetic friends, but I'm kind of crazy. I don't remember a lot. My husband says I don't listen to him. He'll be like, eat this! And for some reason I won't. Like, things like that. Bless my husband's heart. I need to make a hashtag, my poor husband, because him dealing with me, I don't know. I deal with him too, but bless his heart. So, yeah, honestly, that's just really what I wanted to touch base on today. Just some 411 of diabetes. And I also wanted to mention, in my last video, I had my comments turned off. I'm hoping when I upload this today that my comments will be turned on so that we can have some discussions in the comments. So again, thank you for watching my videos. Please like, share, and subscribe if you found anything interesting in this video, or if you learned something new, or if you feel like everybody should hear this, because I do. So thank you for all your support as always. And my name is Ivy, and this is Ironically Ivy, and we'll see you the next video.